My son went missing, but the police found him. I was so grateful that I went to deliver a thank you banner, but didn't expect my ex to be the one to receive it. It was purely by chance. A neighborhood lady thought a kid looked like me, assumed it was my son, and brought him over. I was like, what? Looking at my son's face, part of me just wanted to lose him again. Those genes are way too strong. I grabbed my son and turned to leave, forgetting to hand over the banner. Laura. Justin called my name, clear as day, with lots of energy. I turned, kinda confused. He was holding a pen, lightly tapped it on the papers. His sharp features showed no expression, but his eyes said it all. Pretty deep eyes, really intense when they lock onto you. Sign here. I rushed over, grabbing the pen to sign. Just going through the motions, I got it. But my hand was shaking uncontrollably. My name, Laura, ended up looking like a kid wrote it. Is this okay? I asked him, eyes darting around. He held the paper, pretending to check, and with a simple word, let it go, good. Good is good, I need to leave ASAP. Once out of the station, a breeze hit me, and I felt instantly refreshed. No more running off, okay? Almost gave Mom a heart attack, I said, holding his tiny hand. It grounded me. John looked up, pouting a bit, feeling wronged. I wanted to buy you a birthday cake, but some grannies took me to find the police. I could totally picture what happened. You're still just a kiddo. Do kid things. Remember now, don't go out alone. I chuckled, squeezing his chubby little hand. I never thought to scold him. John's 4, starting kindergarten in September. I've never spoken harshly to him. Maybe it's raising him alone, but he's grown up fast compared to other kids. He wants to take care of me, and it both warms and hurts my heart. I'm not a kid, I'm a man. I gotta protect you. Suddenly, a wave of emotion hit me. Looking at his determined face, I nearly lost it. All right then, let's go pick a cake, my little man. I stuffed down my feelings, kneeling to carry him piggyback. The traffic light was green, we crossed safely. You can't chase the past, but some people and moments unexpectedly meet old memories. I'm Laura, born in July. I didn't have a name right away because my parents had nearly 1,000 picked out. They couldn't decide if they tried. On my 1-month celebration, family and friends were over, and the electric kettle suddenly sparked. It was just a short circuit, stomp it out kind of thing, but aunts and neighbors panicked and rushed out. My folks ran to save me, only to see a neighborhood kid calmly carrying me out. That boy was Justin, 3 at the time. A nascent fire gave me a Justin. Growing up, my life intertwined with his, too tangled to unravel. We went to school, grew up, faced troubles together. He's 3 years older, always ahead. In my junior year, he got into the police academy. I was scrambling for college, he graduated and became a cop. But I never thought he'd be the one to leave first. I imagined us together for life. The day before he broke up with me, it poured rain. He still carried me across the street. He flipped out overnight, no buffer. Mom was right, a girl shouldn't live with a guy before they're married. But stubborn me didn't listen, moved out making up excuses about work commute, and spent all my time with Justin. Barely went home after getting pregnant. My parents never asked about the father. I avoided family and neighbors. When I did visit, it was short. They never said anything, but deep down, I knew they were embarrassed to have a daughter pregnant before marriage. And it was all Justin's fault. After we broke up, his family moved away, probably to avoid the awkwardness of being neighbors. John and I picked a cake. You need to order these ahead, so we went to several bakeries and ended up buying a bunch of cake slices to make one ourselves. Looked funky, but it worked. Mommy, happy birthday. May you get prettier, wealthy, and walk on roses. John sweetly wished, giving me a big smooch. My sweet boy, I hope your wishes come true. I hugged him, filled with love. Thinking back to his birth, I almost lost it from pain, with no family around, just my friend Clara. Poor thing was direction challenged. She went to get me some snacks for energy and got lost. John was born and Clara came back, all sweaty, and cried seeing me so pale. She'd run in circles trying to find her way back. It was hilarious yet sad, seeing the woman in the next bed surrounded by family. I named my son John, hoping he'd be a well-off, laid-back guy, never wanting. Unlike his never-met dad, who oh so wanted to be a cop, high on ideals, low on decency, messing up a simple and kind girl like me. I work at a foreign trade company. As a single mom with a kid, the workplace isn't exactly friendly. But the company benefits are better than others in the same field. So, I hang in there, even if it means last-minute overtime. If I have to stay late, usually Clara helps me take care of John. Honestly, he probably spends more time at kindergarten than with me. The kindergarten teachers know him better than I do. After work one day, I got a call on my phone. Surprising, it was John's kindergarten teacher. My gut told me something wasn't right. I had this feeling since morning when my eye wouldn't stop twitching. Turns out, John got into trouble. He had a fight with his classmate, and both of them got hurt. The other kid was more banged up, and their parents insisted on checking the footage, claiming John hit first. They're 5-year-olds, naturally scared when they mess up. The kids were asked to explain, but it was mostly us parents blowing things out of proportion. Taking a step back could resolve things, I know that. I'd be willing to bend a little. But something the other parents said just triggered me. They whispered, thinking I wouldn't hear, born by a mom, but no dad to guide him. Today he hits kids, tomorrow who knows what. John heard too. His small fists clenched, face turning red, stubbornly refusing to cry. Say it again if you dare. You'll see if I don't tell on you. With parents like you, what do you expect from the kid? I snapped back. Things got heated quickly, might have shocked the parent or maybe I looked too intimidating. Even the teacher didn't predict this, they called the cops. Soon, the police showed up. Seeing Justin took away most of my fight. I didn't want to see him, yet there he was, everywhere. Justin, in his police uniform, all serious, glanced my way while asking questions. That parent, seeing the law arrive, went full drama mode, wailing about her son's plight. Justin's brows furrowed, his cold words could chill anyone. Cut the theatrics, just the facts. Got it? The instant effect was impressive, the tears stopped. Justin knelt beside John, his voice calm. Good kids don't lie. Tell officer what happened. John is usually well behaved but can be stubborn. This time, he was surprisingly cooperative. His eyes locked with Justin's, unafraid. He pointed at the boy he fought. He said I don't have a dad, called me a stray. I didn't want to pay attention, but he hit me first. Everyone paused for a moment. The atmosphere was awkward. I stood there, unsure, with my heart nearly jumping out of my chest. Two things were apparent: John's words changed the case, and something I wasn't ready to face. They were so alike. No denying, just remarkably similar. A grown-up and a kid, exuding the same don't mess with me vibe, controlled the room effortlessly. Teacher, please take us to the security room, Justin said. That parent looked embarrassed. She knew what kind of kid she had but aimed at the wrong target this time. Footage played back, showing what happened at the restroom entrance, clear as day. My boy got bullied. But he wasn't a pushover, his little fists packed a punch. John's mom, you see, kids fight sometimes, and mine's hurt too. Let's just let this go. The parent tried to look friendly. I was disgusted, picking on the weak like that. This isn't over. I firmly held John's hand. Come on, why be like that? Justin stepped in, stopping her. You saw the footage. Need me to spell it out? The parent backed down. In the end, she apologized to us in front of everyone. Paid for medical bills and other expenses too. For years, I've felt alone. It felt oddly nice to have someone on my side. But why Justin? Can't it be someone else? Scram. I'll never forget him dumping me. Clara whipped up the last dish, hurrying to the table. Taking John to the amusement park this weekend. Remember that guy I mentioned? He's been asking again, really likes you, wanna meet? Clara's always setting me up for dates, seeing how hard it is raising John alone. Overtime, no time, I replied, eating some sweet and sour fish, no hesitation. Come on, do you want this to repeat? Find John a dad, no one will gossip then. Clara, in John's kindergarten group chat, saw how it exploded after the incident. That kid was a class terror, his mom even worse. But this time, they messed with the wrong duo. Parents in the chat voiced their own grievances, some even shared photos. The parent had to switch schools. I can protect mommy, now I'm the protector of my friends too, John said proudly after dealing with the bully. His logic surprised me. Definitely need to guide his thoughts, power isn't everything. Clara playfully taps his head with her chopsticks, eat up, those shrimp won't hush you? Does your mom need protection? She needs love and care. Quickly, I covered John's ears, worried Clara might spill something inappropriate. Enough, knew it was a trap dinner. Should have taken John for KFC instead. Clara gave me a look and put the shrimp into John's bowl. If you dare, my godson is growing and can't eat junk food. I never mentioned seeing Justin to her. If she found out, who knows what chaos she'd stir up. My interactions with him were probably just that. I went on a blind date over the weekend, tricked by Clara, that jerk. The guy was an IT dude, about 30, with significantly thinning hair. We barely had anything to talk about, just some awkward small talk. All I wanted was to finish my coffee quickly and escape the awkwardness. It only got more awkward. Someone lost something at the cafe, and the police were called. Guess who showed up? Justin. I mean, even if the world is small, it doesn't need to be this small. From the moment he walked in, his eyes were on me. It's broad daylight, and being stared at like that by a cop had me sweating. The guy I was on the date with couldn't help himself. Hey, Laura, why is that undercover cop staring at you? I could see why he was still single at his age, no sense of subtlety. I said a quick goodbye, knowing I probably wouldn't see him again. We were just not on the same page. After leaving the cafe, my phone died, and I couldn't get a ride. To top it off, I had no cash and was stuck. Laura, Justin's voice was loud and clear as he called my name. In those few seconds, dozens of possible reactions ran through my mind. But in the end, I chickened out. Officer, are you working? I asked with a forced smile. It's not my shift today, just training a newbie. I'm here by chance, Justin replied, scanning me from head to toe with his almost probing eyes. I was dressed in an outfit picked by Clara. She said my usual office clothes were too formal and that men liked more demure women. So there I was, in a flowy floral dress and a sheer sweater, looking very feminine. Is that guy your friend? Justin asked. Yes and no. I didn't even remember the IT guy's name. Kind of felt bad for the guy. Justin chuckled, but it felt more like a cold draft, which is something for a sweltering July day. You're on a date, aren't you? In my head, I muttered, even if I got married, it's none of your business. Acting like this, who is it for? You forgot how you dumped me back then, huh? I pulled out my phone and pretended to be busy, despite it being dead. Sorry, I've got something urgent to handle. I should go. Best to make a quick exit. No way was I about to play nice. I've never forgiven him in the past 5 years, why now? I hoped he'd get the hint that there's tension between us, and stop being a nuisance. Where are you headed? I can give you a ride, he offered casually. No thanks, I'll just grab a cab. But your phone's dead, isn't it? He smirked, catching me in a lie. Typical him, still as annoying as 5 years ago. I've got a privacy screen protector, I stubbornly insisted, already too deep in the lie to back out. Laura, there's actually something I wanted to ask you. Justin opened his car door, giving me no room to refuse. When he wanted something done, it always got done. It always has been that way. Since I was born, I'd known him. Decades of memories shattered by just one sentence from him. So this time, if he had a specific reason to see me, I'd have no chance to escape. I got into his car. He handed me a charger, and I reluctantly plugged in my phone. Where to? Going home would reveal where I lived, so I gave him my office address. The traffic lights, the sun-scorched asphalt, and the plane trees swaying in the breeze, all unchanged, yet everything felt profoundly different. He bought his first car in his first year as a cop and used to take me out when I was off. I still remember those nights, the wind making my head spin. I'd sit in the passenger seat, and he'd lean over to kiss me. So cautious, like he was holding something precious. I blushed like crazy, and he laughed, admitting he wasn't a pro, it was his first kiss too. We passed a few intersections, and I felt dazed, struggling to snap out of it. Then, he broke the silence. Exactly as expected, no small talk, straight to the point. Are you married? Who's John's dad? I'd imagined 1,000 times how I'd answer if we ever met again and he asked this. Surprisingly, I felt strangely calm. He's deceased. I'm raising John on my own. I stared straight ahead, eyes unwavering. I'm sorry, Justin said, his voice low. His hands gripped the steering wheel, veins bulging beneath his skin. He probably never expected that dumping me meant I'd move on. Let him think what he wants, it's not good for my reputation, but it sure feels satisfying. He needed to see he's not indispensable. No one's going to wait forever. I, Laura, stand tall and proud, not even for him. We reached my office, and I thanked him, quickly unbuckling my seatbelt and getting out. Planting my feet on solid ground, I took a deep breath. Too much of his scent lingered in that car. It's the weekend, no work, but since I'm here, might as well stop by before heading out. The moment I stepped into the lobby, a man bolted from the waiting area towards me. Laura, can we talk privately? Name your price. I pushed his hand away in disgust. That man, Mike, was in charge of supplying materials for one of our projects. Last time, when I was assigned to inspect the project, the results were terrible. Various products had severe quality issues, so I wrote a report for upper management recommending a new supplier. Ever since our first contact, Mike's been hinting about kickbacks, which I've blatantly refused. The gall of him, tracking me down at the office. Please let it go. There's nothing more to talk about between us. I only believe in what I see. I'm assertive, and I've made my place in the company not just because of my persistent work spirit, but crucially because I'm truly responsible. Mike's face flashed with hostility for a moment but quickly covered it up with a smile, saying, Laura, don't be so quick to refuse. How about I treat you to a meal? Let's go to the best restaurant in the city right away. I'm not good at discussing business over meals. When I drink, I get fuzzy, and going out for dinner with someone like him is a bad idea. Sorry, I've already eaten. Please step aside. I kept a cold face and tried to walk past him, but he quickly blocked my way. Where's security? I demand to know why building security hasn't showed up to ensure tenants' safety at a time like this. She told you to move, didn't hear? Security didn't show up, but someone even more intimidating did. Justin tilted his head slightly, his handsome face cold, his words sharp like knives. I've seen him catch bad guys before, truly scary stuff. This time wasn't much different. His good-looking face was as fierce as a demon. He had an intensity like he'd drag you straight to hell. Mike realized Justin wasn't one to mess with and quickly made himself scarce, mumbling something under his breath as he left. I massaged my temples painfully. What a day of one problem after another. Thanks, but I can handle this. I've dealt with these sorts of problems before. Even when he wasn't around, I managed just fine, so no need for pretty words to make him feel heroic. Justin smirked slightly, a trace of mockery in his eyes, but they seemed to dim a bit. What was he laughing at? Me, himself, or maybe us? I decided to stop pondering, turned around, and headed for the elevator. As the doors slowly closed, Justin stood there, watching me, his powerful eyes strangely filled with sadness. I laughed at myself for being delusional and desperately hopeful. The Laura who nearly couldn't survive after a breakup has moved on. I can handle anything now. Clara called, inviting me to dinner with John tonight. It seemed pointless to go home then back again, so I stayed at the office, enjoyed the AC, and organized materials for next week. When I left at 7, the sky wasn't fully dark yet. My phone had charged fully, which felt reassuring. I quickly headed to the alley, planning to catch a cab on the other side, when suddenly someone covered my mouth and nose from behind. Oh no, it's a robbery. I raised my hands, ready to surrender. No need to risk my life for a few bucks. Laura. It was Mike. Goosebumps covered me. I hadn't expected him to be so sneaky, resorting to dirty tricks when bribery failed. You know what I want? If you don't do what I say, ruin my money path, I'll post your nudes online, and neither of us will have any dignity left. Mike's disgusting words nearly made me puke. He wasn't alone this time. With some help, they'd come in a car, dragging me inside by my hair. I felt leaden, realizing the cloth over my mouth was dosed with something. Today, I'd let my guard down, underestimating the threat. Although I struggled, my limbs were weak, my voice silent as fear took over. I'd never imagined such vile tactics from TV would happen to me. All because of Justin. If it weren't for him, I wouldn't have come to the office and encountered Mike, the lowlife. My eyes were fogging up, unable to see, just surrounded by their filthy words, one saying I looked good, another commenting on my figure. Touch me, and I'll get back at them someday. Hurt her, I'll destroy you. In a daze, was I hearing echoes? The voice sounded familiar, like Justin's. Soon came the thuds of fists hitting flesh and the groans of men in pain. I started crying, certain I'd gone crazy, hearing things. Trying to open my eyes, I aimed to remember the criminals' faces. The drug muddled my mind, still I managed to glimpse fearsome shapes subduing offenders like gone wild. Somehow, it seemed like him. Why you again, Justin? Dreams rolled back years, with Justin in sportswear I'd gotten for him, cooking a homemade meal. I'd returned from work, bursting with news, he was to be a father. Spotting the spread, I anticipated his marriage proposal, marking a double celebration, heaven sent an unstoppable fortune. Instead, he remained withdrawn, announcing he wanted out. I demanded explanations, weeping and resisting his departure. Recalling later, gratitude filled hindsight, sparing John from the turmoil. His flimsy reason, boredom. Growing up together, many girls admired his charms, yet none had mattered till now claimed disinterest. Holed up in our apartment, lost I remained, no work or contact. Gone, a month he never returned. Clara rescued, cared through childbirth, refocus shifting to John. After weaning came work, thus, days grew brighter. But why did he return? Eyes open to white walls, midst antiseptic scent. In bed with an 4 drip, Justin silently watched from a chair. Awake? He queried. Shifting eyes, head ached, a medley of soreness. Bad dream? He ventured, worry etched on his face. What did I say? I hope I didn't say something irrelevant, like asking him why he wanted to break up with me. It's been a long time, but it still hurts a lot. I don't want him to see me struggling to let go, that would hurt my pride, and things would get serious. Justin gulped, looking a bit uncomfortable. You called me a bastard. I sighed in relief, thankful I didn't say something I shouldn't have. The guy who attacked you has been taken in. Turns out he's involved in some shady stuff, so the department's opened an investigation. He won't bother you again. Justin's calm and steady voice was reassuring, bringing some peace to the chaos. Thanks. I already owe you so many favors, this is beyond just thanking you with a plaque. How on earth do I pay him back? I need help with this, seriously. I suddenly remembered John and Clara, they're probably waiting for me for dinner. They must be worried sick if they can't find me. Where's my phone? I tried to get up and reach for my phone, but my head's still dizzy, and I nearly fell off the bed. Justin steadied me, frowning. I answered when Clara called. I told them not to wait for you. She said she'll take John home, so don't worry about it. That Clara, always stirring things up. Great, now I really can't head back tonight. I lay back down, my temples throbbing. You inhaled some drugs, you need to rest for a few days. The doctor said you can leave tomorrow morning. I'll take you home. Justin said, handing me a cup of water. I was pretty thirsty, drank most of it down. Please don't mention what happened to them, they'd be scared. Our eyes met, and it was awkward. What about you? Are you scared? He looked at me, and I saw my reflection in his deep eyes. I can't stand being alone with a guy late at night, the atmosphere turned immediately awkward. I didn't want to be reminded of the past. I was scared plenty of times, he has no idea. Trying to warm me with belated concern is a nice gesture, but not quite suitable for a single mom like me. What good does fear do? I already decided that if they took scandalous photos of me, I'd make sure they regret it. My words sounded tough, Justin didn't respond, probably had no idea how to. The next day, the doctor checked in, found I was okay, and said I could be discharged. Justin took some leave from work to help me out and drove me home. Give me your account info, I'll transfer you the medical fees. I said, holding my phone. The account's too long to remember, just add me on WeChat. He pulled out his phone, showing his QR code. Wow, seems pretty cool on the outside, but full of tricks. But I didn't want to owe him. I could just delete him after the transfer. Sent. Check it. Justin didn't move, focused on driving, his handsome face stern, lost in thought. Do we really have to do this, drawing lines between us? He finally spoke up after a long pause. Clearly annoyed, like he's been wronged somehow. What else? Am I supposed to celebrate and tell everyone you saved me yesterday from thugs? I said that to rile him up, and it felt good. Laura, that's not what I meant. I just wanted to protect you. He said as he pulled over. I know, and I thanked you. If it's professional, I'm grateful. If it's something else, then forget it. I looked at him fiercely. 5 years of pain and anger couldn't be erased with just words. Justin, you only happened to be there this time, but where were you when I was struggling? Who do I turn to when things get bad? I got more upset, choking up. If you can't always be there, don't send mixed signals. Even if you swear, I might not believe you. Open the door, I want out. I yanked at the door, knowing it's locked, but I kept pulling. Laura. His eyes dimmed, a trace of longing in his tone. I looked at him and suddenly laughed. You aren't still into me, are you? I was surprised I asked that, so was Justin. His pupils widened, and a moment later, he unlocked the door. I opened it and got out. Justin stayed in the car, didn't chase after me. As I turned away, I thought I saw tears in his eyes. Get over yourself, Laura. One heartbreak's enough, no need for a replay. I went to pick up John. Clara started her endless questioning, thinking my date went well and we went to a hotel, which led to her giving John a talk on stepfamilies. Mom, let's go home. I can't take it here anymore. John complained, grabbing my waist. Clara folded her arms, rolling her eyes. Laura. When a girl pouts, I usually give in, but this time I'm on my kid's side. Enough, nothing happened with that IT guy. Last night I was at work, he just answered the phone, so quit imagining things. Spend your energy finding yourself a good man instead. John gave me a thumbs up. Clara was almost jumping with anger. Before things got worse, I grabbed my son and left quickly. As we left, Justin's car was parked downstairs. I forgot he's a cop. Tracking people's got to be second nature. He got out, casting a shadow with his tall frame. You left your phone charger. No need to bring it personally. I can just buy another one. I said no thanks, instinctively pulling John behind me, not wanting them to interact. John peeked out, full of admiration for Justin ever since that day at the daycare. Finally met him in person today, and he was over the moon about it. Officer. Is it really you? You're my idol. You were so cool last time at the kindergarten. John wriggled out of my grip and stood in front of him, eyes full of admiration. Justin smiled, a rare sight like a glacier melting, though it felt kind of awkward. 5 years ago, at our best, I warned him not to smile casually. It makes him scarier, gives off a dark aura suddenly. He patted John on the head. I see you've got some tough little fists there. Want to be a cop when you grow up? John opened his mouth, but I was quick to cover it. No, he doesn't. Trying to trick me is one thing, but trying to trick my son? That's just low. I pulled John, wanting to leave, but the kid was slippery as an eel, twisting away and refusing to budge. Justin stood there, hands on hips, head tilted, watching our little act, and then sighed heavily. What happened next was unexpected, for both John and me. Justin opened the car door, lifted us both effortlessly, and plopped us inside. Smooth move, not a single hiccup. Uncle, you're amazing. You're totally my hero. Can I take a picture with you? No, can I ride shotgun? John was switching sides, waving his little hands excitedly. Justin grinned, showing off his neat, white teeth. Sit tight. Little kids can't sit in the front seat. You gotta use a booster seat. Got it. John, ever obedient, looked like he was actually enjoying the scolding. I turned my face to the window, feeling stuffed up by their antics. Ever since Justin drove us home that one time, he kept staging these coincidental encounters. John, being a precocious kid, was thrilled the most. He might not say it, but he craves fatherly love. Justin, a stoic tough guy, matches all his fatherly fantasies. I'm really worried that one day, when we can't keep it under wraps anymore, how will it end? But some things, the more you think about them, the more real they become. Inspired by Justin, John helped the neighbor's grandma save a cat from a tree, ended up with a big cut on his arm, and was taken to the hospital. Coincidentally, it was Justin who took him. This hospital happens to be where John regularly gets checked. All his records are there, including his blood type and birth certificate. When I arrived, Justin was nowhere in sight. John's wound had been treated, nothing serious, just exhausted after everything, and was fast asleep. A plain-clothed officer came in with some fruit and hot water, was startled to see me, then called me sis-in-law. Being called that out of nowhere, I was wary. He insisted on talking outside, said he was going crazy holding it in and needed to say it out loud. Turns out he's Justin's mentee, assigned to watch over John. He told me all sorts of things, so much my brain couldn't process it all at once. 5 years ago, we didn't part because he lost interest. He had a dangerous mission. Fearing retaliation, his parents were relocated, and he broke things off with me to protect me. Last year, he completed the mission and returned to his old unit. He tried contacting me immediately, but my number didn't work. I moved house, changed jobs, practically disappeared. He cried on rooftops at night, got drunk at strangers' weddings, calling out my name. Laura, a name etched in his heart. He wondered if his dreams were truly worth it, if it meant losing loved ones, but regrets proved that maybe he chose wrong. Seeing me again made his heart come alive. But my evasive, dismissive attitude, wanting nothing to do with it, left him helpless. Justin returned, smelling faintly of tobacco. He doesn't smoke, it's only when there's trouble weighing on him. In the long hospital corridor, I stood at one end, he at the other. We just stared at each other, tears welling up. A lifetime of understanding, no words needed to know what he wants to say or ask. Since he's not great with words, I took over. The day we broke up, I just got back from the hospital. Pregnant over a month, baby was healthy. Later, I gave birth, 6 pounds 4 ounces, a boy, looks just like you, personality too. He's well behaved, never asks where his dad went. I switched companies, worked hard, went from a beginner to a pro in the industry. Went through a lot, pregnancy, childbirth, raising a kid, earning money, so you better treat me really well, might not ever repay it all, got it? Tears streamed down like a river, felt like I was washing my face. Justin, long legs striding. Correction, running, like the boy he used to be, just for me. He pulled me into a tight hug, like afraid I'd disappear. My life is yours, can't repay it in this lifetime, then in the next, and the one after. Laura, I'll never leave you again. A damp spot on my neck where his tears fell, and I cried even more. After John woke up, a few big things happened, like suddenly having a dad. He was happy though, Dad matched all of his dreams, especially since people always said, you two look just alike. Then, he had more family. Besides rarely seen grandparents, he heard about grandparents living somewhere else. When Justin and I reconciled, Justin's mom called asking when she could come by to meet officially. She said heartfelt things, several times choking up on the phone. Soon after, Justin's parents moved across from my mom's place, becoming good neighbors. The wedding was mostly their doing. Justin and I were inseparable, more so than we ever were. He was busy at work, but always sent messages to reassure me. John was taken home by 4 elderly folks and is now being treated like a superstar. Neighbors keep saying how much he looks like Justin when he was a kid. There's this rumor going around. They say Justin had to go on a secret mission, so he moved his family away for protection. Now that it's over, everyone's back together, happy as can be. Justin's like this undercover guy now. I've benefited too. No one whispers about me having a baby out of wedlock anymore. In the end, everyone's happy, except poor Clara. She keeps dropping by with complaints. Laura, you said John's dad would introduce me to some cop. When will that happen? Gorgeous, all these cops are super busy. You're so clingy, they might not handle it. I teased, giving her chin a playful pinch. Busy? Can't find time to get married? Look at John's dad. He's this superstar cop, but still makes time to cozy up with you. She tugged at my collar, noticing a few hickeys. I face-bombed, she's got sharp eyes. Alright. Interested in a younger guy? Justin has this young helper, quite capable, and should handle Princess Clara. Younger? No problem. I charm from age 3 to 80. Her voice trailed off as Justin walked in with that young assistant in tow. They probably heard every word. Sis-in-law, some fruits from work. Gotta run. The kid dropped the fruits and bolted, leaving Clara all flustered. Justin yelled, go after him. What you waiting for? Clara dashed out in her heels, and Justin and I laughed till we couldn't breathe. Hey wifey, what you wanna eat tonight? I'll make it for you. Justin wrapped his arms around me, sneaking a kiss. When are we getting John back? It's been over 2 weeks. I miss him. I said quietly, snugged against his chest. Oh, that kid. He muttered, even quieter, almost forgot about him. Seriously? I looked up, protesting, how does a dad forget his own son? His eyes darkened, and he lifted me over his shoulder. They say absence makes the heart grow fonder. 5 years apart left him insatiable. I'm being serious here. Why are you like this? I protested. In this scene, all my protests seemed like invitations to him. He kissed me. John's been with the folks long enough. Any longer, he might pick up bad habits. I nodded. We're always a team on parenting issues. So, I signed him up for a summer camp. It's one of those boys love it kind. He took his shirt off, reaching for mine. Oh, come on. My back's still sore. Do I get no break? I know you love kids. How about another one, what you think? Not keen. It's infuriating to reason with him. John went to that summer camp. I was worried, he'd never been away from me. Then, I got photos from the camp leader. Turns out Justin was invited as an instructor, spending 5 days with the kids. John was thrilled, glowing with excitement every day. The camp ended, and I went to pick them at the station. They were a sight, 2 look-alike men turning heads. My big boy. I hugged John. He'd gotten tan and lost weight, but those shiny eyes couldn't hide his joy. Justin, with a hint of jealousy, said, "Hey, you got 2 of us here." I rolled my eyes, only he'd be jealous of his own child. He hoisted John onto his shoulders, grabbed my hand, and we headed out. Time felt like school days. He always carried my bag. Years later, we turned into a family of 3. Though delayed, happiness was never absent. Thinking of a second kid, but it wasn't a priority. I'm allergic to anesthesia, Justin couldn't stand the thought. His serious look always made me laugh. He's busy, keeping our family safe. I wait for him at home. This kind of happiness feels simple. But maybe, it's missing something. 2 cops protecting 2 princesses sounds nice. Or maybe, it's time to plan for a second kid. I'm a doer. Once planned, it's got to be done. Luckily, it was right around my ovulation. I was all in, and Justin was pleasantly surprised. I was secretly thrilled, wanting to surprise him. I tampered with the little packages at home. An accident was bound to happen. Finally, 3 months later, the pregnancy test showed positive. I was so excited, almost cried. But I'm holding off telling Justin. He's away on duty, and I don't want him distracted. When my mother-in-law found out, she was super concerned, holding my hand, knowing how tough it's been. She said they never hoped for Justin to be so outstanding, just close. However, a police job is what he chose, and they only supported. I smiled, returning her grasp. Mom, Justin's out there protecting everyone. I'll take care of our little family here. When Justin got home, it was a week later. He looked exhausted, having just completed a 2-day emergency mission. He was so tired his eyes could barely stay open. I had so much to say, but all that came out was, take a shower and get some sleep. My mother-in-law saw this and held back from saying anything, just showing her concern. Our son John, understanding the situation, hugged his dad and went to sleep in his own little room. At night, I sat by the window. Watching Justin's tired face, I felt a mix of deep sympathy and immense pride. This is the man I, Laura, love. He's amazing. The next day, Justin was on leave. After we dropped John off at kindergarten, he offered to take me to work. Instead, I took him to the hospital. Confused, Justin got instantly nervous. When he saw I was signed up for the OB/GYN, he figured it out. He was like a kid, clueless and amazed, and when he saw my sly smile, he just held me lovingly. You know you're allergic to anesthesia and you're still this stubborn. Justin was both annoyed and delighted. He hugged me but was careful not to squeeze too hard. Having you makes me feel free to be reckless. I grinned ear to ear. With Justin, I'm fearless. 8 months later, I gave birth naturally to our daughter. Watching his sister, our son laughed with joy, but Justin burst into tears. He told my mother-in-law, my wife went through so much, she must have been in pain. Hearing that was enough for me. The future. Justin and Laura, with their kids, will always be happy together.